Did you know that BDSM and kink are healthy outlets for aggression, imagination, and attention? Hi, welcome to The Partition, home of Kinky Wellness. My name is Dana Shergill, and I am a sexual wellness instructor that dives deep into all things kinky. I'm here to show why kinky sexual wellness deserves a rightful spot within the wellness conversation. So let's talk about it. Hey, and welcome back to The Partition. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Yoni Eggs. Ooh la la, what are those? So after Kat and I watched the Vice documentary on Tantra Island, I decided to do some more research on what a Yoni egg actually is. As usual, any research that I mention in this podcast, I'll leave the links in the description. So let's jump into it by answering the question of what is a Yoni egg? A Yoni egg is basically a small, smooth stone that women put inside their vaginas. But yoni itself is a term that originated in Sanskrit and is symbolic of female genitalia. This depiction of female genitalia has a meaning in Hinduism as a sign of generative power, and that symbolizes the goddess Shakti. Yoni also means sacred place. Personally, I like the name Yoni better than vagina. I just think it sounds nicer to me. But anyways, Yoni eggs can be made of various stones and crystals, but jade, rose quartz, and obsidian seems to be the most popular when I was looking into them. And as our special guest last week, Megan Milliton, told us, if you're open to energies and believe in it, then you'll need to understand that the different stones that you use can cause different reactions within us. Between what I researched and the tidbits that Megan told us, I gathered some information on a few different types of stones. Jade is the most traditional type of yoni stone and is said to communicate with the heart chakra. Other qualities jade eggs offer is that it's very grounding, calming, balanced, and it's a protective stone that promotes self-love and well-being. Other benefits of jade is that they're harmonizing and they balance the waters within our bodies, which helps our kidneys and female reproductive systems. The next one I saw was the rose quartz. Rose quartz is often referred to as the love stone and is connected to the heart chakra. The rose quartz benefits is that it dissolves barriers and blockages that we have against our feelings and helps us to be able to give and receive love better. The last one is the black obsidian stone. So this stone is connected to our root chakra and is extremely, extremely protective. And is said to be a really strong ally for releasing trauma and emotions that we store in our body, especially in the pelvic area. So basically, this stone helps move negative energy from out within you. But as Meg said before, you need to be aware and ready for this because sometimes the energy within the obsidian stone releases so much emotions and energy that it can be overwhelming. And you don't want to put yourself in a really negative place by accident. So just be aware of what yoni egg you pick. But another piece of advice that was great from Meg was she said to buy borosilicate yoni ones, which is that medical safe glass. And she said it's a great option if you're worried about how or where to source your yoni egg because of the mining industry. But really, the most important thing you need to know when picking a yoni egg is that you need to have a stone that won't crack so you won't get bacteria in it. And some tips about getting a stone with a string is try to get a string that is made up of organic material. So where did yoni eggs come from? What's their history? Well, apparently yoni eggs have been around for over 5,000 years. Empresses from royal dynasties in China used to carve out eggs from jade because they said that this would open the door to our sexual power and help awaken women's sexuality. They considered this really valuable information because apparently they tried to keep it a secret for as long as they possibly could. Only select Tao practitioners were allowed to know of this, along with members of royal families. But the yoni egg seems to give a lot more power than just that. People who use yonis say that women can have a stronger pelvic floor, give more intense orgasms, and help reduce women from leakages, especially after childbirth, because it helps promote vaginal healing on its own. Now, pelvic floor exercises, I've never personally heard about it until I got a lot older, and I think it's something that women aren't really educated on properly. Because even with that being said, is the education we receive on pelvic floor exercises even good? while I was researching this, a lot of Western medicines were saying that yoni eggs are not good, but were suggesting that women use Kegels. Kegels is kind of like a yoni egg, but as Megan mentioned before, it primarily focuses on just tightening without actually having the proper education to go along with it. Some things I want to mention about Kegels is make sure you know what it's being made out of. I was looking at some of the ingredients for Kegels, and there's concerns because some of the Kegels that were coming out, or at least before, I'm not sure if they've changed it, were being made with chemicals such as BPA and plasticizers or phthalates. Phthalates? Yeah, that's the word, right? And these chemicals are super, super harmful for you, and it's best to avoid them, especially when you're putting them inside your body, And of course, when it comes to sexual wellness and things like this, there's always seems to be a sense of controversy. So for controversy for Yoni Eggs, what kept popping up was Gwyneth Paltrow and her company Goop. So long story short, because this is a few years old, but basically in 2018, Gwyneth Paltrow's company faced a false advertisement lawsuit from the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office. They got this because the company claimed that the Yoni Eggs increased chi, orgasms, vaginal muscle tone, give hormonal balance, and increase feminine energy in general. So because there's a lot of mystic and magic, I guess you could say, around these Yoni eggs, Goop had to pay $145,000 in returns. But even now, the company still sells their eggs, and they stand by its description that the eggs give those benefits as before. But again, that's the thing. If you don't believe in energies or the spiritual realm or some sort of magic, I guess, then it can be very easy to disregard these claims. And that's what I don't agree with the medical field here, is because if something doesn't get the medical stamp of approval, then it immediately gets dismissed. And I think that people forget how long humans have been around for. It's not just we know everything right now. I don't really believe that, and I especially don't believe that about sex. I feel that we're starting to learn more about sex, more about our primal instincts and things like that. But I was reading an article on Insider.com about this, and the title literally is called Why Gynecologists Warn You to Never Insert a Yoni Egg into Your Vagina, which is the most literal title I've ever seen. And at the end of it, it basically says that none of the spiritual claims can be backed by modern medical studies, right? And then they list off all the reasons why you should use a Kegel instead, which, I don't know, am I crazy? They're basically the same thing, except one doesn't have as many chemicals in it. But anyways, that's for another story. But Yoni eggs sometimes don't come cheap. So I know I saw some on Amazon, but if you want to double check and make sure you're getting a stone that's mined ethically, then you're going to obviously pay more for that for obvious reasons. And from what I saw, Yoni eggs can range anywhere into the hundreds, but the cheaper ones that I saw range from anywhere from $30 to $75 Canadian. But the one thing about Yoni eggs, and the one thing that really stood out with the conversation with Megan about this, is that women need to start experiencing more relaxation within their bodies, especially inside their own yoni. I don't blame them. There's a lot of things out there that make us feel scared about our bodies. But what they don't understand, or what people really don't understand, is our mindset attributes so much to our health. So a big part of the reason why our bodies age so fast or so poorly is because we really think poorly about our body in general. Stress makes us tight. It makes us tense. And if we're stressed out about aging, which is something we all have to go through, then we're only going to make our muscles tighter and more tense. And although this is a narrative that is a natural thing, that this tensing is a natural thing that women go through, it's not. We don't need to go through that. We don't need to make menopause harder for ourselves than we need to. There's evidence that holistic avenues can actually make things easier, and I believe Yoni is definitely one of them. And this starts with having proper pelvic floor education. I'm definitely going to try a Yoni egg, and I'm definitely going to buy one, because the thing about health is you need to work on it right now. And we need to work on our health right now so we can prevent us from running into problems when we do eventually get older. And personally, if I can take control of my Yoni health, then I definitely will, especially for menopause. And also because this doesn't really seem to be a massive inconvenience for me either. I don't really find that the work of putting a Yoni egg in and going through that is going to take up much of my time. Because, like, I get it. I get that some health routines do take time. But Yoni Eggs seem to be more like a set it and forget it type of thing. Like, obviously, there's steps through there. But I will definitely let you know about my process as we go on. But is there any listeners out there that have a Yoni right now, that have Yoni Egg experience? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think these stones do everything they say? Do you think it's all hocus pocus? Let me know in the comments. But really, that's all I have for today on Yoni Eggs. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you next week. And as always, stay kinky.